I was the person my family used as a warning to their kids, so I did the only thing left to do. I disappeared without saying a single word. They call me the failure, the disappointment, the one who couldn't keep a steady job or finish a degree while everyone else was busy collecting accolades. Every holiday dinner was an interrogation, every casual phone call turned into a lecture, and every look they gave me was filled with a heavy, suffocating pity that felt worse than actual hatred. I remember sitting at the kitchen table on my 24th birthday, listening to my father explain to my younger cousins why they should study harder so they didn't end up like me. He spoke as if I were a ghost, an empty chair that didn't have feelings or ears. That was the exact moment something inside me just snapped. It wasn't a loud explosion. It was the quietest, most profound realization I've ever had. I understood that as long as I stayed in that house, I would always be the person they needed me to be just so they could feel superior. I was their benchmark for what not to become. So I waited until the house was completely silent and the streetlights were the only things awake. I packed one single suitcase, grabbed the $500 I'd hidden in a dusty shoebox, and I drove until the sun came up and the radio stations changed to a language I barely understood. The first few months were absolutely brutal. I slept in the back seat of my car in supermarket parking lots, ate cold beans straight out of a can, and worked two grueling jobs just to afford a studio apartment with a window that didn't even open. Sucks, there were nights when the silence was so loud I almost picked up the phone to call home. I almost apologized for leaving, almost begged to come back to the comfort of their criticism just so I wouldn't be so alone. But then I'd remember the way they looked at me, like I was a broken thing that couldn't be fixed. I realized that being alone wasn't the same thing as being lonely. For the first time, the only voice in my head was my own, not theirs. I started over from scratch. I didn't go back to school for the degree they wanted. Instead, I poured every ounce of my soul into a small creative business they always told me was a complete waste of time. I worked 18-hour days, not because I wanted to prove them wrong, but because I finally felt the spark of proving myself right. 5 years passed in the blink of an eye. When my business grew from a laptop on a milk crate to a flourishing company with a team that actually respected me. I had a new family now, a chosen family of friends who knew my worth before they ever knew my bank account balance. Then, out of nowhere, I got a message. A cousin had tracked me down. Through my professional page, they told me the family was worried and that they were finally ready to forgive me for the way I walked away. That was the ultimate twist. Even after all that time, they still saw me as the villain because it was easier than admitting they were the reason I had to flee. They wanted to forgive me for escaping their cage. I didn't reply. I didn't need their closure or their hollow blessing because I had already built a masterpiece out of the ruins they left behind. True success isn't about the money. It's about the peace you find when you stop letting toxic people hold the pen to your life story. If you feel like the black sheep today, stop trying to fit into a flock that only wants to keep you small. Walk away, build your own world, and don't ever look back to see if they're watching. If this story hit home, follow for more and tell me in the comments, what's the one thing you're walking away from this year?